Checking for loose spokes. One good way is to just squeeze the spokes, looking for excess movement in the spoke. If you notice, this one has excess movement. Another good way is to use your wrench or a screwdriver and tap on the spoke and listen for the sounds. A tight spoke will make a high-pitched sound. A loose spoke will make a very dead, dull sound. So now we're going to tighten our loose spoke. To about the same tension as the others. Once you've tightened it to the sound is about the same, you can keep checking the rest of your spokes. If you find that most of your spokes are loose, it's a good idea to go ahead and tighten up the loose ones and go around and give every one about 1/8 of a turn or 1/4 of a turn. Giving every spoke the 1/8 or 1/4 of a turn will keep your wheel in true. If you notice that your rim has a very bad bend or a wobble, it's probably a good idea to take it to a shop and have them true your wheel. We're going to be changing the chain and sprockets on this bike. It's a good idea to change both front and rear sprocket and the chain at the same time. The first step is, if you have a chain guard, to remove the guard. Take note that some guards are plastic and will have an aluminum backing plate. Next, we want to remove the countershaft sprocket bolt. If you have an impact gun, simply put the impact gun in reverse and remove the bolt. If you have trouble removing the bolt, you can also apply pressure to the rear brake. The brake will hold the rear tire, and you can remove the bolt. Before removing the master link and the rear tire, I'm going to raise the rear of the bike up off of our rack so our tire spins freely. Once your rear tire is off the ground, you can rotate the tire until your master link is at the top of your rear sprocket. Once the master link is at the top of the rear sprocket, you will notice the open end of the master link should be facing the rear of the bike. This is very important. This is the way it needs to be reinstalled. Using a flat blade screwdriver, place the screwdriver against both ends, both sides of the master link, and give the screwdriver a good whack. You can see that the master link has popped off. Now we can use a pair of small needle nose to remove the master link. Some chains you should be able to remove the master link plate by installing a screwdriver and removing. Some plates are very stubborn and don't want to be removed. You can damage the plate by forcing the plate off. I'm going to use a chain breaker to push the plate off. This does all the work and does not damage the plate. Next, just slide out the main link. Removing the chain, simply grab a hold of the upper part of the chain and pull. Now we can go ahead and remove our counter shaft. Simply remove the counter shaft. Take note of how your counter shaft is removed, because there is an offset to your counter shaft. One side is raised, the other is not. Most bikes are like this. It's rare when there's a bike that has the equal offset. Now we can go ahead and loosen our axle nut. You want to remove the nut, your washer, if applicable, and spacer. Take note which way the spacer faces. On most bikes, there is a direction. Using a rubber mallet, you do not want to use a steel mallet, either a dead blow or a rubber mallet. Just give the axle a good whack. If your axle is properly greased, the axle should slide out with minimal force. Simply lift up on the tire, rotate, and pull the axle out. Now the tire and wheel should remove very easily. Before removing your rear sprocket, you can place your tire and wheel assembly on your bench. It's a good idea to use some wood underneath one side or two sides. That way your brake rotor is not bouncing off of the bench while you're working.